ਔਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸ਼ਾਮਿਲ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਨੇ BC ਦੀ ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਿਵ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦੇ ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਿਵ BC ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੀਡਰ ਨੇ ਮਿਸਟਰ ਜੌਨ ਰਸਟਡ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਫੋਨ ਲਾਈਨ ਤੇ ਮੌਜੂਦ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਆਪਾਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਗੁੱਡ ਮਾਰਨਿੰਗ ਜੌਨ, ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਸੋ ਮਚ ਫॉर ਜੁਆਇਨਿੰਗ।
Good morning. Thanks for having me on this morning.
Good morning, John. It's always a pleasure to have you here, but not under great circumstances. So we heard this morning about the mill closure in 100 Mile House, and we wanted to get your reaction.
It's very upsetting to think that our once forest sector has been so decimated. And the biggest challenge that I'm hearing from the forest sector is they just can't access fiber. The permits are taking too long, if you could even get a permit. The cost structure has become way too high, and it's making companies have to wonder whether they can operate. I was talking with some sectors, some components of the sector, and they're wondering, not just the crisis that they have, but they're wondering whether or not there is going to be a collapse of our forest sector. And I'm very, very concerned about that, the families and the jobs that this is impacting.
Well, we're looking at 166 direct jobs at this mill. And if we're looking at 166, there will be many, many, many more. So what do you think? What do you think could be done to stop this mill closure at this stage?
The challenge, I think, is, and I've got to be very political in saying this, we've got a government that doesn't understand the damage it's done. And yes, we have problems with Trump, and yes, we have problems with the duties and anti-dumping that have been put on by the Americans, and that has played a significant role. However, the policies that have been brought in place by this government, the delays, the layers of changes that have happened have made it extremely difficult to do business in British Columbia in the forest sector. And that's what the companies have been facing. Year after year, they've come to the government and said, we need you to do this, we need you to fix these things, and government has told them to just go away. We used to have a cut of about 75 million cubic meters in this province in 2016. Last year, I think we cut about 32 million. This year, we're going to be probably under 30. That's a reduction of close to 2/3 of our forest sector in that period of time, even though the annual allowable cut, which is set independently by the chief forester, is around 62 to 63 million cubic meters per year.
John, definitely apart from the forestry sector, I mean, you must have been in meeting with so many business councils and federations. How's the morale of business owners in British Columbia right now? Though the latest labor force survey is saying that Canada added so many jobs and our unemployment rate is going down. But what is the reality on the BC soil?
Well, when you look at the job reports for BC, we've actually lost jobs again last month, even though the rest of Canada was gaining jobs. And so that means, since July, August, there was a little bit of uptick, a few thousand jobs in September, and then down again here in December. And we've lost over 30,000 jobs in BC. And so when I'm talking to business owners, whether it's small business, whether it is developers, whether it is major companies like forest companies, they're all looking at a perspective of how do we survive in British Columbia, and should we be doing business elsewhere until there's a change in this province. So capital's going to freeze up. We're not going to see the type of capital we need to invest to create the jobs and to be able to pay the higher wages that are needed in BC.
Thank you, John, for coming on at such short notice and giving us your perspective on the mill closure and on the future of the lumber industry.
Thank you for having me on. I wish it was better news. I know there's many, many families that are dedicated and hardworking in terms of using our forest sector and creating the jobs in this province. And I know they're devastated by these closures.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me on.